Who is the Libertarian Party presidential candidate? Who are the big winners in Bundesliga Week 27? And how's the stock market doing? Find out on this episode of Short End of the Pick with Richard and Kurt. Welcome to Short End of the Pick with Richard and Kurt, guys. Happy Memorial Day. And hey, hit that subscribe button below. Make sure you guys are staying in touch with all that we're doing. We got a lot coming at you in the future here. We got our video set up. We got everything going. We're going to ask you guys some questions, so get ready to comment down below your answers. And you guys can kind of track in with us what we're doing. You pick your picks. We'll pick our picks. We'll see who does a little bit better. Kurt, how you doing, my man?
Yeah. I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing, Richard?
I'm doing just great. Oh, quick shout out to our Twitter page at SEP Podcast. Check us out there for updates about what we're doing. We're posting all our stuff to YouTube right now, but we'll be expanding in the future, like we said. How was your weekend so far, man?
It's been pretty good. It's been a wet, week. It's been a rainy week down here in South Florida. So, but I love it. I love the rain, like I said, and it's an iffy Memorial Day weekend. Happy Memorial Day, by the way.
Yeah, Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. If I didn't already say it. But yeah,
Hope
it's been wet. It's kind of not so happy for me. I don't know. You like the rain. I wanted to go outside and enjoy the sun a little bit.
Yeah. Memorial Day is like, get out there, go to the beach, go to the pool. But, the beaches are still closed here. So it's like, I don't know. I couldn't even do anything anyway.
Well, I just got my community pool open, so I was ready to go back, and I'm ready to go after this. And
yeah.
Rain.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Hey, we'll hopefully it'll clear up by next weekend, and we can get some stuff done then. Alrighty.
Yep.
So
we got this big news today. I mean, at least for me. I mean, a lot of people don't pay attention to third-party politics.
No, but they're exciting nonetheless.
When did this happen? I mean, this story came out. Did this just happen yesterday, or when? I guess they have their big convention, the Libertarian Party.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the Libertarian Party had its big convention. We opened with this, and they selected their presidential nominee. And so the big
it was a virtual meeting.
Yeah, they did a virtual meeting. So that's kind of like I'm sure that's like the first time they ever did that too. But
because the Libertarian Party is pretty. They're very serious about their voting and their process. It's kind of an involved thing, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, they also on the forefront of this whole try to do remote selection of a candidate. So it looks like they were pretty successful because their big winner, I'm gonna do a quick little drum roll, is Jo Jorgensen from South Carolina, I believe.
JoJo.
Yeah. So she was selected. So Jo Jorgensen was selected as yesterday, I think you said. Pulling up the
I'm trying to find that out. Oh no, it says the 23rd. I think it might have been Friday or actually, Thursday or something like
Saturday? 23rd? Yeah, Saturday.
Saturday would have been that would have been the 23rd.
That's a good day to do it. People are generally off work on the weekend, so you can kind of get a lot of people behind it. And there's also nothing going on in the news cycle. But from what I heard, she narrowly won the 51% margin to get the candidacy.
Right, and I thought, Jacob Hornberger was in the lead. I mean, he was my guess, I guess, if I would have had to pick of who would have won. So, but she came out on top. But she kind of shocked me. But she is a more, how do I put it, mainstream libertarian. I mean, she's been around in the party for a long time, so I think she has some of those connections.
Yeah.
So I was glad. At least Vermin Supreme didn't win. That would have been weird.
But he got 20% of the final vote. Like, people are pretty.
Yeah. That's crazy. Arizona should be ashamed of theirs. I think Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, and Ohio, all of those state delegations voted for Vermin Supreme in the Libertarian. So they ought to be ashamed of themselves.
That's probably just like a flip of the bird to the big party candidate. Anyway, but she won with slightly over 51%. It looked like Hornberger came in second with 28% of the vote. So do you know? Do they need to get 51% to move on, or is it just like
I think
whoever gets the plurality of votes?
I'm not sure exactly how it works. I'm guessing if you get 51, then you're locked in. Yeah. But if there's less than 51, then they might go to like a second round or something like that.
Runoff kind of.
Which might have happened last year, or maybe that happened for the VP pick. Because I know they also vote on vice president. Like the person who's elected or not elected, nominated, doesn't get to just pick their vice president after the fact. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They also vote on vice president nominee. So if you're the Libertarian presidential nominee, you don't get to pick your vice president. The party picks for you in a sense. So they picked. So yeah, there was a little bit of drama with that last go around. That's the only reason I know that it can get kind of dramatic if you don't have a clear winner. But I think John Mons barely lost out to, who was that guy his name was like Spike something, a very weird vice presidential pick. I mean, Jo Jorgensen's not so weird because she actually was on the ticket in 1996.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She was the VP candidate on the ticket with Harry Brown for the Libertarians in 1996. So
yeah,
she got some history with the Libertarian Party.
She's been around for a while.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure. She's one of the people that's been trying to chug this thing up the rungs of political power, I guess. Man, it's a lot to get a small party like that to have like national recognition, and I think they've done a pretty good job overall is trying to get the party a little bit lifted.
Yeah, well, it is the biggest third party, party, I guess, or it is the biggest non-mainstream party.
Yeah.
Right? Is that a good way of putting it?
That's a great way of putting it.
In last election they had, I think, over 5% of the popular vote in the presidential race.
Pretty
Gary Johnson was on the ticket. But that doesn't match up with some of the third parties that have happened in the past. I mean, there's been some third party candidates that have brought in a lot more than that. That's not the biggest.
No.
But it's sort of a resurgence. Yeah, I've got a car alarm going off.
But yeah, no, I mean it kind of makes sense. Like you can see how like the parties are kind of changing and growing and altering. Like you can even see that in today's parties. There's wings of certain parties that are getting bigger or smaller, and things change a lot. Like I mean, you look even back like even just like half a century ago, like 50 years ago, or even less than that. Some of these third parties were getting like massive amounts of votes. Like in the Bush senior age, even he was elected, and I think I think their third party candidate came out with like 20-something% of the vote. It was like if everyone that voted for that third party candidate hadn't voted for the third party candidate, instead voted for Bush senior's opponent at the time. I can't remember who. Right now.
Well, I think Bill Clinton, when Bill Clinton won, it was because there was a huge third-party candidate that took away a lot of votes from him.
Exactly.
So it used to happen a lot more frequently, but a lot of people say they don't want to vote for Biden, they don't want to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that don't, they're not happy with the two candidates that we have. They're not even happy with the two parties in general. So
yeah,
hey, who knows?
I think bringing this up
check her out.
Yeah. Bringing this up is just like a hey. There's not two alternatives, I just want to that's part of the reason why we're talking about this too. It's just like, hey, there's not two alternatives. Check out what's in the field.
Yeah.
See if you
and
like
Jo
the
Jorgensen, she's a doctor of psychology, and she's a pretty, level-headed person.
Yeah, she's got good credentials.
If you wanted to check it out.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Next story is, I think, Volkswagen and the ruling
Yeah,
there?
so Volkswagen was in a dispute. So a plaintiff in 2015, if anyone remembers 2015, that's so long ago now, Volkswagen was caught for having had lied about their emission standards for their diesel fuel engines on some of their vehicles. And
that's a big deal over in Europe.
Yeah.
In Europe, they've got some tight standards on emissions.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think I'm not sure that it was whether it was the U.S. that caught them or maybe some European country or something like that caught them. But whoever caught them, and so now they're in a bunch of legal disputes. And obviously, with any court based thing, it's going to take a while. But today, or I shouldn't say today, but recently, Germany's highest court for civil disputes, so the highest level court that there's you can't appeal any further than this, sided with
their Supreme Court, right?
Exactly, sided with the plaintiff against Volkswagen. So basically, they said, Volkswagen, whatever the plaintiff was arguing about, they're in the right, so you have to compensate them. And so what it's basically doing is allowing owners to return vehicles for a partial refund of the purchase price. And what I think is even more critical is that it's serving, I'm reading out of Reuters, it's serving as like a template for the 60,000 other lawsuits that are still pending in German lower courts. So this is basically setting a precedence for them, saying, hey, listen, like, we think that plaintiffs that are in this kind of situation are in the right and they should be compensated for it. And so Volkswagen, this could mean a lot of issues for them arising from a slew of other court cases that they're having to battle right now.
Yeah, it says that they've paid out more than 30 billion euros in fines, compensation, buyback schemes worldwide since the scandal first broke in 2015 already.
That's not...
So this was one decision that really was a decision for 60,000 different cases.
Yeah, that's not a small amount, you know, and it's just going to keep, if it keeps growing, like, what does that mean for their long-term viability as an automaker and stuff like that? These are the kinds of questions that arise. Like, I'm sure their stock prices haven't been faring particularly well after this news broke.
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't looked at it, but I mean, that's just the kind of thing. I'm reading at the bottom of this article. It says Volkswagen shares were 0.5% lower at 10:40 GMT. That's like a global standard time. But it was half a percent lower. So, I mean, that's a pretty bad lashing for.
Yeah. Rough stuff.
Anyway, just stuff to look out for.
Be honest in the business world. Yeah. Now, the next story is about CDC. You know, with all this coronavirus stuff, you know, you think that the CDC would be focused on, like, humans and stuff.
Right. But that's what they are.
No, they gave out this. This is kind of a funny story, but they gave out a warning to residents and establishments of rats going in aggressively in search of food.
Oh my gosh.
They gave an official warning.
Oh my gosh.
For rats. Rats out of control.
The country's turning into New York City.
Stay-at-home orders and the wearing of face masks have to some extent prevented the spread of COVID-19. Oh, what is this?
That's pretty wild.
I don't know.
So, like, basically what you're saying is that, like, the restaurants and stuff like that have been closed for a while, maybe haven't had as much foot traffic, stuff like that, rodents and maybe other kinds of critters and stuff like that are coming out of the woodworks, you know, like, at a certain point,
yeah,
they've
been starved.
Yeah, exactly, 90%.
Apparently they've been starved due to the stay-at-home orders.
Yeah.
And so they say that they'll resort to unusual and aggressive behavior, according to the CDC.
That doesn't surprise me. Like, you know, like, imagine if you just left, like, an area for a really long period of time. Like, these small creatures have no threat, essentially, anymore from you. Like, their biggest threat was that you were coming in every morning at 5:30 to chop the onions, you know? Like, and if they saw you, you were gone. So...
And rats are known to spread disease.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, you don't want rats, you know, like breaking into your house just to, you know, because they're on the brinks of starvation.
Yeah. So, like, how many weeks, months later, and they've just, like, set up shop outside, and they're like, okay, yeah, I can just walk around the floors, no problem. And then now you come back in,
Ratatouille.
You're thinking, whoa, this is my area. This is where I've laid my roots down, man. I've been here for the last 2 months.
I hear that they eat each other and stuff.
Dude.
Like rats, you know, because when they go hungry, they're savage.
Dude.
Anyway, I guess to tailor into another funny story, I guess we can bring up our real funny story of the day, which is this, I don't know how funny it is. It's just kind of interesting, though. But a robot barista that takes orders, makes coffee, and delivers drinks to customers is being used in South Korea to help with social distancing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So South Korea, you know, they had the curve a little bit earlier than us, so they've kind of opened up by now. Yeah. But they have this robot. You see pictures of this robot that's driving around the coffee shop, delivering like drinks to people, and it has like a trash can in it, and it's just helping people to not, you know, with the social distancing. I can just imagine
here in the U.S. it's like at one of the Starbucks or something like that. It's like, yeah, I'll take a mocha frappa double chino ultra deluxe serve it on a white
Please repeat.
sheet of paper with a drawing of a.
We did not understand your order. Please repeat, sir. Recalculating.
Yeah, but that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
You were saying leave it to South Korea to start implementing these things pretty early, dude. Like. That's not. I mean, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. These are things that these companies are already looking into.
Yeah,
this is just more incentive to just say, screw it. Like, I'll throw the investment down.
Right, South Korea or Japan. I mean, one of those two places is gonna put a robot somewhere.
Yeah, the tech industry out there is pretty wild.
Yeah. So that brings us into sports.
Yeah.
This week's sports stories.
Yeah, this week's sports stories, and
not much going on still.
Yeah, we have some stuff that we can recap, and I think what we'll do is we'll start with the recap from our golf story. So. This past week, Phil Mickelson and I believe it was Tom Brady were on the same team. And then Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning were playing on the same team. So it was just doubles, just these two teams were playing against each other for charity. So I think they ended up racking up $2 million. The big story is more that they ended up getting these funds to charity and stuff like that. But the ultimate winner,
I heard it was 20 million.
20 million. Oh, that's much better. I thought it was 2. I missed the 0. Anywho,
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Anywho, so
Anyway.
I heard. So we made a.
So
pick,
who won?
Yeah, we made a pick on that.
Oh yeah, we did. What was your pick?
Let's refresh everyone's memory. My pick was. I think I picked because Peyton Manning. I said is pretty much not doing anything else, and I thought that Tiger was on a roll.
That was a good. Yeah, that was a good logic.
I went with Tiger and Peyton Manning. Who'd you say?
I picked Brady. I thought Brady was going to be the X factor, and he was going to lead him back from lead him back from the great, from defeat.
As for the
to
results,
pull off a last-minute win.
So this is CBS Sports reporting. As for the results, Woods Manning beat Mickelson Brady 1-up in what turned into a thrilling home stretch of alternate shot play on the back 9. So they did the front 9 different than they did the back 9. So. They kind of kept it mixed up a little bit. But this kind of plays into what we were talking about earlier, just like how we had bad weather. They played relatively close to where we are currently, so they've had they had rain all day, so basically they were just out there having a really good time. But it sounded like, Woods and Manning had a lead, but that Mickelson Brady were like, they started like cracking the reins, man. They were like, okay, we're getting back into this race here, and started coming back through.
Yeah, it was really rainy. I mean, where was this? Somewhere in Miami?
It's up in I think either West Palm Beach County or maybe Martin County, Florida.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I heard that Brady had a 150-yard hole out. Like he got it in from 150 yards.
Wow, good for him.
Drive.
That's awesome.
It said that not only his microphone pack flew off, or that he split his pants while getting the ball out of the hole. Or that he threw his shot past the hole and spun it back into the cup. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, he's an athlete, man. That's pretty incredible. Yeah, you're like, if you're gonna expect that shot to come from anyone, you're like, okay, it's gonna be Phil Mickelson or Tiger Woods is gonna make a shot like that, right? Like you just like far off. You're just trying to get on the green essentially.
Tom Brady, boys.
You're trying to get on the green and then boop, dinked it in.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
All right, so I have another. Yeah, so you won that. You won that,
got that pick.
But I have a funny story for baseball. Baseball's still kind of in limbo. I haven't really heard anything on it, but
I think they're trying to reopen
besides
this
a lot
summer.
of
We'll see how
deliberation.
it goes.
Yeah. But the Minnesota Twins has a minor league affiliate that they're not playing right now, and hey, they need money. I mean, they're supposed to be playing games and getting ticket sales.
Yeah.
So they listed their ballpark on Airbnb.
Like the whole stadium, or like just like
the whole stadium?
Dude, what?
Like they say that the full access to the field, the clubhouse, up to 10 people a night, $1,500.
That's it.
A night.
10 people. That's $150
if
a person.
10 people put together, $150 for a night at a ballpark. You could do whatever you want.
I would go
bring
play
out
a
the bats
game.
and the golf. Yeah.
I would go play a
That's pretty
game.
cool.
That would
you
be
could,
cool.
You could probably have access to like the PA system and the intercom or whatever. That would be so fun.
Dude, you go in, you check in early, you play like 3 hours of baseball, 5-on-5, and then you go to the beer stand and you go get a couple of beers, and you chill out afterwards, a couple of hot dogs, and chill out and stay the night. You don't have to worry about driving home. That's like the biggest question.
Yeah.
How are we getting home after the game? You don't have to get home after the game, man. You're staying there.
I remember a video with J Stu Studios is a channel that I watch a lot, and they did this. Obviously before all this happened at a minor league thing, they had an agreement with the Colorado Springs minor league team.
Yeah.
And they went and stayed at their whole stadium, and they were digging through the clubhouse, and they went out on the field, and they were having a big blast. So that sounds like that would be so fun.
That would be incredible.
And that's so funny. Like, it's almost like a prank. Like, the minor league team is like, well, since we're not like playing games, we might as well just rent out our park. If it's $1,500 extra bucks a night, yeah.
We gotta go resod a little area.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
All right. Well, and other, for real sports, we have Bundesliga.
Yeah.
Bundesliga seems to be the only thing back in action besides like NASCAR.
Yeah, it's like hopefully I think we're supposed to be seeing some more Premier League games, I guess. But yeah, it's like NASCAR, and which I know nothing about essentially, and Bundesliga, which is on at like 8 o'clock in the morning on a weekend when I'm trying to get some sleep in. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but we had a couple of picks from last week, and
Yeah.
let's review those, because I think what we'll do is we'll do another pick.
A couple. Well, we had one pick from the Bundesliga.
Yeah,
right?
we had one pick for the Bundesliga, but we'll check on that pick right now, and then we can have another pick actually for this week, because hey, there's nothing else going on, and it's a pretty tight table right now, so things are getting pretty exciting in Bundesliga. So let's review our pick. Bayer Leverkusen and I'm not gonna pronounce this right. Gladbach.
Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Faced off, and we had made our picks. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we both ended up picking Bayer Leverkusen to win by 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So
Did you know that? By the way, did you know that Heung-Sen Min, or Heung-Min's son, what's his name? Son. On the Spurs. You know, he before he came to the Spurs, he was on Leverkusen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Maybe I mentioned that. Yeah. Oh, anyway.
You might have.
Anyway,
so
continue.
You picked the team. We were saying Bayer Leverkusen away is going to win this one by 1. They actually ended up winning. But they won by 2, surprisingly. And
it was a 3-1 final draw.
Yeah, it was a 3-1 final.
Or, I'm sorry, a 3-1 final score.
Yeah, score. And we were kind of close. Up until the 81st minute, it was 2-1. Like, it was what we were saying it was going to be.
But that's pretty impressive for a team that was below Borussia Mönchengladbach on the table. Mm-hmm. They go away to Borussia, and then they pull out the W. Yeah. But a 3-1 victory.
Yeah, I'm thinking cool. that like
to bring themselves into the top 4, and then 1 point away from being in the top 3.
Yeah, I'm thinking based on like just coming back into something and not having like any real instance where this has happened before, where you like stop playing for a really long time and come back in. I feel like there's like a lot of room for ifs and ands and buts and whatnot. Like, so people can win. Something true. Unexpected could happen. This isn't totally unexpected. This is a good solid win for Bayer, but maybe a little maybe the odds weren't necessarily in that direction. They might have been. I don't know. I didn't check the odds. And
I think that Leverkusen's typically regarded as like a better team.
Yeah. They had better possession, 55% possession. I mean, pretty.
But what's going on? So they're having another. So we have another week coming up.
Yeah.
The games are starting tomorrow, and I guess we'll do our Dick's picks and captain's logs.
Yeah. We'll do Dick's picks and captain's logs for this. Do you want to do a quick overview of the standings right now? That way, people can kind of get a little.
Well,
context.
Okay, yeah. So what we have right now is Bayern Munich on the top with 61 points, and then you have Borussia Dortmund at 57 in second place, and then it starts to get really tight. Red Bull Leipzig is 54 points, 3 below Borussia Dortmund. And then Bayer Leverkusen is 53. And then Borussia Mönchengladbach is 52.
Yeah.
After this week.
And then after that,
those 5 teams, it drops off. But those 5 teams right there for the top, really fighting for that third spot. I'm pretty sure in Germany, the top 3 go to Champions League.
That wouldn't surprise me necessarily. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of duking it out right
I mean, to be fair, like even Leverkusen, if Borussia Dortmund hit like a pretty bad stride for a little bit here for some reason, could potentially,
all 5 of them. Yeah. I mean, no one's safe except for maybe Bayern Munich is pretty safe for the top 3.
Yeah.
But they're not even safe for the title.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on if they're going to play all these games out. Yeah. With this game, so the game that we're going to cover, right,
is going to be very critical to that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing tomorrow is going to be Borussia Dortmund versus Bayern Munich.
Yeah. So Borussia Dortmund hosts Bayern Munich tomorrow. Is going to be Dick's picks and captain
at Dortmund. All right, man. Do you want to go first?
I think.
What's Dick's pick for this week?
I'm thinking. Okay, I'll do Dick's pick this week. Dick's pick, official pick this week. Borussia Dortmund by 1.
What?
Yeah, they're gonna
really.
They're gonna be at home. And they need this win. They're like, we want the title just as badly as Bayern Munich wants it, and they're gonna sneak it out. Bayern Munich's asleep over there.
That's an aggressive pick. I mean, okay. I got to give you because they're at home.
Yeah, they're at home.
Anything can happen at home.
So, to be fair,
I'm gonna,
Bayern Munich in their November 9th matchup beat them 4-0. So Bayern Munich would probably be the safer pick. But I'm saying, at home, coming off of haven't seen each other for a while. Things have changed. By the way,
what
I thought was a risky pick last time. Maybe it wasn't necessarily, but I'm gonna go with my gut again. Borussia Dortmund by 1.
And you have Erling Haaland. This kid is just ridiculous. I mean, he's setting the world stage on fire. He's like the wonderkind, and he's going up against Robert Lewandowski, who's like the veteran, one of the best goal scorers really of all time, to be honest, but especially in this era. And so that's going to be just something to watch. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the safe pick, and I'm gonna go with a 1-goal victory for Bayern Munich.
Honestly, you could put a couple of goal victory on Bayern Munich and still feel pretty safe. I think as far as
like you say, they're coming back from this break, and no one really knows all the numbers that were compiled throughout the season kind of got washed out a little bit for this thing, and now it's almost like everything's up in the air a little bit. But yeah, Bayern Munich's got the quality. They know they got to hold on. I mean, a draw is the worst I could see, but who knows? I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, if I were, I don't know. I think that I maybe in a different situation might have picked Bayern, but I don't know what it is. I'm thinking Borussia Dortmund this week. So that game's tomorrow.
All right. That's it. That's Dick's picks and Captain's Log this week, guys. Everyone comment down below what you guys think.
Oh, yeah.
Who's gonna win?
And
Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich.
Who is it going to be?
Erling Haaland. Is Erling Haaland going to score the winning goal?
Could be. We got another one where we're butting heads against each other too. So I'll be able to. All right, well, I'll be able to wave the victory flag.
There we go.
Hopefully next week.
No. I'm definitely going to be waving the victory flag.
We'll see. All
right. That brings us into business.
Yeah, stock talk. Alrighty.
So the market was generally up this past week.
Yep.
S&P was up barely. Well, okay. First of all. We're recording on Monday. There's no trading on Monday, so we're on a 4-day week really, Tuesday through Friday, and S&P was up 0.2%. Russell 2000, which had been hit hard during the coronavirus, really is rebounding the hardest in those last 2 weeks. Yeah. It's up 1.9%. Nasdaq up 0.6%. Dow Jones is down 0.5%. So it's a little bit mixed, but it for the most part broke even and made out a little bit. So, I mean, the market's still on this slow kind of trudging recovery from the big dip. I think there's a lot of uncertainty, so that's holding it back from exploding. Like, we've had a couple weeks where it was really up a lot, a couple weeks where it's been down a tiny bit, and it seems to be kind of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of mentality right now, just because of the uncertainty.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the reality of the time we're living in right now. It's that volatility, though. But to be fair, people that have the liquidity right now and can kind of just can afford to maybe put a little money in the stock market can end up making out.
There's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, can make out pretty good in a really short amount of time, because you could see, for example, if you invested $5,000 and something goes up 10%, that's a $500 gain. In a day. And we've seen realistically those kinds of trading days where something goes up 10%. It's like, what the heck? One day, boom.
Yeah.
So
absolutely, lots of stuff that dropped like severely, and now that was just kind of like overreaction.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing a lot of stories. I heard on Friday of the market is overestimating the ability for the economy to recover, and a lot of people are critical of how consistently the market's been growing despite all this negative data. The unemployment data is through the roof. I mean, unbelievable numbers we've never seen before. Yeah. We had that housing delinquency numbers come out, all these big companies declaring bankruptcy, which is a story I think we want to cover, right?
Yeah, for sure. I don't have that story open necessarily, but if you have something that you want to.
Well, it's Hertz. Now, I didn't know this. Hertz is a company that's been around since 1918.
Whoa. Really? That
Since
long?
Like the beginning of the cars. Yeah, cars when first they
pulled
off the first couple cars off the assembly line. They were like, all right, let's start a rental company.
Yeah, the Model T rolled off the thing. They're like, what people would really like to do with these? Not have to own them outright, which is fair. That's a fair assumption.
But this just kind of plays along with, like, obviously car rental companies are hurting along with airlines and stuff, because who's renting a car right now? I mean, you only rent a car when you travel. But it just kind of plays into this, what we talked about last week with JCPenney. There's a lot of companies that are, they've been trying to hold out, but the debt payments are coming through and they don't have any revenue. So they got to declare and they've got to face up and tell the banks and tell the courts, hey, look, we can't pay, so you guys got to, like, let's restructure this. Mm-hmm. And then their whole company has to go into like a restructuring phase. And that's where I read the story about some fears about the auto market in general. The headline here from Seeking Alpha is Hertz bankruptcy and fleet liquidation because $14.5 billion of their $19 billion debt was security-backed rental vehicle security.
Wow. It's like the
backed
vast
security. So it's like,
majority.
yeah, so their cars were their debt. You know, they had borrowed to expand this car network, which is what you got to do as a rental car company. But that's a lot of it locked up in their vehicles where, okay, what's the number one thing we can do? Reduce our stores and sell off some of these cars. And so this headline says Hertz bankruptcy and fleet liquidation threaten to make mess of used vehicle prices with burst of pent-up supply. So
yeah,
a lot of people that have 3 cars in their household, 2 cars, and they're like, we can't afford all these payments right now. We got to sell.
Oh, good.
We got to sell this car. Well, also, you know, you got cars like if Hertz drops, who knows, hundreds, thousands of cars onto the market all at once in some big major areas, it can make the price of cars fall, used cars, you know, fall dramatically or noticeably at least.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's like these are like those tertiary effects that are kind of trickling down from everyone being locked inside all day long. It's like people aren't just making their everyday regular purchases. You know, like you were expecting to do so much movement of your goods and do so much in trading and stuff like that, and it's just not coming to fruition necessarily. And maybe it doesn't look on the face as something that's going to be particularly bad, but as time goes on and we start to get down the road, and we're not even looking at that issue anymore that we were dealing with, which in this case is obviously the disease that was kind of going around. We could be way off beyond that, and then still feeling the ramifications of that. Just because it's just
now there's
moving through the industries now.
Because people are having to shut down.
Yep.
And those jobs may come back eventually, but that doesn't happen overnight. It's not like a company can't like declare bankruptcy and then a month later they're like, oh, never mind, we take that back. You know, when you declare bankruptcy, it's because you are on your last rope. Like, you know, you didn't have enough saved up to patch yourself through this, so you had to liquidate.
Yep.
And when you put stuff on the market, it takes a long time to get people back working and to get the revenues back up. So it's just like, and just one last thing on this, like, I don't think that the bursting of the vehicle market bubble is that big of a deal because it's different than the housing bubble, for instance. You know, people buy houses expecting appreciation, expecting the value of their house to go up, but when you buy a car, you know that the value is going to go down.
Yeah.
So if it was already going down and now it drops even more, you know, most people are still going to make their payments and use that car just like they always would have. But it puts forward some long-term impacts. You know, when a bunch of vehicles get dropped on the market, you know, that underwater rate of people who are underwater, how much now they're even further underwater on their cars,
Yep.
you know, on their leases and whatnot. So anyway, just more bankruptcy, and I don't know. Do we have another story in Stock Talk?
I don't think we have another story, but we can roll right into our picks from last week, review our picks from last week, and then we can talk about what we're going to pick this week.
Our
too.
stock picks.
So yeah. Was it Rick's big pick? Is that what it was, or is it my?
It's Richard's hot take.
Hot take. Dang it! I can never remember that. Cause
it's Kurt's big pick.
Yes, your big pick, my hot take. All right, yes. So last week's hot take for Richard.
Because I've got a big pick. Go ahead.
My hot take from last week was Forescout Technologies Incorporated, FSCT. So at the time this podcast dropped, which was Tuesday morning, I'm gonna look at when the market opened on Tuesday to the end of trading on Friday because we haven't had any trading since.
Well, remember this whole thing. The reason you picked this was because they were dropping fast because of this merger debacle, and so it was kind of an artificially low dip in the price. And you thought, okay, let's buy while they're down so that we can, you know, when things get worked out or when they, you know, people realize, wait, they actually have value, the stock price will go back up and you can make out a lot.
Exactly, yeah, that was the whole MO there. And for a little bit there, it was looking pretty bad. I think they had a pretty decent sell-off or something like that, and their prices actually dipped down another, like, probably something on the order of like 10 to 15%. Since I had
got down to 18.29 is what I'm seeing.
But since then, the prices have popped back up again, and now
Friday really surged.
Yeah, had you purchased first thing in the morning on Tuesday when this dropped, your current stock would have gone up I am pulling up the number now.
I think it's 2.7. 2.72.
I'm seeing $1.50 on $23. So I'm seeing something more along the lines of 6%. I guess since after hours trading on Friday, it also fell another quarter, another 25 cents.
I think I'm looking at after
Oh,
hours.
okay,
but...
yeah. So with after hours included, sounds more on the order of like 2%, but 2% on like a pretty low cost stock. I mean, that's not bad. The volatility on that's going to be great for people that are just trying to make out, and then cash out. Be a couple of bandits.
You definitely beat me.
So about 2% sounds like.
Although you beat me and you beat the market, but my stock did not go down. It went up. I will have that said. Unless you challenge it. My pick was NET, which is Cloudflare Incorporated.
Okay.
And it's just a web-based services. I just saw it, thought it looked good. And they went up 0.6% since Tuesday, 9:30 Tuesday to right now.
0.6%.
0.6%. So it kind of matched the market.
That's not bad.
In all honesty.
Yeah.
That's basically what the market did, right? So
that
was our picks for last week. You made out really well, Richard. You got the
yeah, I got the victory medal.
You
for
took
this
the cake
round,
on that one, man.
Yeah.
This podcast is just your day.
Yeah. For now.
Don't get used to it, buddy.
Yeah, especially since we're gonna have to come up with a couple more picks here, and I'm not sure how I'm feeling about mine, but I think I'm gonna go on a little bit of on the risky side today and see what's what. Are you ready to get going on those?
Sure.
Alrighty, I'll go first since I gave mine away first. And so this week, for Richard's hot take, I'm going with Aurora Cannabis Incorporated.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Here we go.
You're going with the weed.
Yeah, so I guess the reason why is that you look on their really long term, and I'm thinking this is going to be more of a short term, just to put that out there for perspective right now. But for some reason, in the last week, it just like bounced around a lot. And since it's only trading at $16 a share right now, like if it only grows by $2, say for example, that's more than 10%, And so from on Wednesday, it was trading at something like $12 or $13 a share. It's now up at $16 a share.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like an increase of like 30+% potentially, depending on when you catch the low and when you catch the high. So there's just a decent amount of volatility. I mean, I don't know that this is like a particularly long-term hold because it's just been like it just hasn't had particularly good metrics over the last their trading value, and I don't know necessarily if they've been intentionally like increasing stock volume and then that has been decreasing stock price, or if it's just been that
I mean that one's been talked about. Yeah, that one's been talked about for a long time. I mean, that whole market it's kind of in limbo, but people have really talked a lot about it in the last couple of years. So it's just
bouncing around, and that one in particular bounced around a lot recently. So I figure, hey, maybe it's worth doing a little risky take on a low cost thing that could potentially have a really good upside. It could have some pretty bad downside, but we'll see.
All right. That's Richard's hot take.
Yeah. Moving into Kurt's big
What
pick.
was it? Aurora Cannabis?
Aurora Cannabis. ACB is the stock symbol.
All right. So Kurt's big pick is going to be Datadog Incorporated.
Datadog.
It's ticker DDOG. And this is an explosive stock. If you just look at the last month, they went from $43 a share to $73 a share. So just in 1 month, they're up 70%.
Moly.
Yeah, they're on fire right now. I think they're just like a data cloud. Kind of the same thing I picked last week. But for whatever reason, these companies are doing really well right now, and I think it's on the upswing still. It's slowed down its explosive growth, but if you just look at like the last couple weeks, it's on the rise. So I think if you pick this one up in the next week, you're going to gain a lot of ground. You're going to gain a lot of territory here.
Yeah, those tech stocks too are have been particularly resilient, like we've said 100 times now. So.
Yeah, I'm sure the P to E ratio on this is through the roof. So this is not something like that's long term going to grow this fast. But
yeah.
For whatever reason, right now people are really high on it. So pick it up over the next week.
Yeah.
It's at $73 a share right now.
So it sounds like both of ours are looking at like something you got to keep an eye on. Maybe take the gains while you can. Go in, take whatever gains you can get, and then get out of there.
Yeah.
That's a way to test your
pick.
trading. Alrighty, that has been Richard's hot take and Kurt's big pick. I was gonna say short pick.
Yeah, you really killed me this week on the picks from last week, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you could kill me last week, but we'll see this upcoming week. We'll see what happens.
So that's how the cookie crumbles. We'll see how it goes next week.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up this episode. And so make sure you all hit the subscribe button, click the like button if you enjoyed the video, comment your picks down below, see how they compare with ours. And we'll check it out next week. With that, this has been another episode of Short End of the Pick with Richard and Kurt. We'll catch you on the next week. We'll catch you on the next video. Until then,